So we'll go back to that Thursday night game now. It wasn't it? Collingwood and Adelaide. What were your takeaways? I guess like the big questions to sort of explore are like how good are Collingwood right now? Because I feel like they've been a little bit written off given their late season form. Adelaide, I think people just assumed we're going to cruise through to this preliminary final. Now it feels, and this happens every time a team loses a qualifying final, you're like, they're going to go out in straight sets. They always feel like they have no momentum behind them. Where do they sit? Do you see any problems for them based on the way that they played? And we'll kind of, I don't know, we'll unpack everything.
The Adelaide Crows to start with?
Yeah, let's go Adelaide. Let's start with Adelaide.
So part of the reason I think my gut feel shifted right before that game, and I saw Rogue Wright said I'm a fraud publicly. That's fair. But I think the reason my gut feel switched was more around the composure piece, which I think was actually kind of bang on in this particular qualifying final. I think that Collingwood's ability to manage the moment was superior to Adelaide's, particularly early. I thought Adelaide, it was almost as though they had they looked at the inside 50 count of the last game and thought, if we hack the ball inside 50 more, our forwards will do the rest. And if we win the inside 50 count, we win the game. I reckon that, oversimplifying it was almost as though that was the way they approached the game. Because early on, I felt there were so many damaging clearances that Adelaide were winning, and they were hacking the ball inside 50 to Darcy Moore and Frampton as well. So that I think is probably what cost Adelaide. And we said last week, we were talking about how no team had won the flag having not played finals with that group before.
Yes.
And I think there was also a graphic that I saw this week that Adelaide had the second least finals experience of any team in the 8 this year. So
we brought that up, but then we didn't live by it in our tips.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We kind of just bypassed it.
I think I was more of a comment on whether they win the flag. I still would have said Adelaide win the game, but I think Adelaide were coming up against a very seasoned Collingwood side that is arguably their trademark is their ability to manage these games. And I think throughout the game, they just looked a little bit slicker, a little bit cleaner. That's probably also true of Geelong last night as well. What did you make of the game?
So I actually thought that Collingwood, kind of back what you said about that inside 50 count from the previous game, I thought the Pies actually came in with this mentality that we're almost not going to play the ball. We're going to play the man here in the sense that they were really up for the pressure side of it. Almost subconsciously a little bit that they didn't want to get the ball in their hands from the clearances and stuff like that. Adelaide were really dominant early on. And just the pressure, I think the pressure factor across the game was consistently over 200 for Collingwood. The clearances overall, 35 to 33 in favour of the Crows. And the thing that Collingwood did and why you know that pressure was really high is the kick to handball ratio. So Adelaide, usually about 1.5 to 1 sort of in kick to handball, and they went right up above 2. And for a lot of the game, they were actually approaching 3 at different times. So they were just kicking too much. They weren't able to get those really nice exits. And it just gave Collingwood that dominance from intercept marking, right? Was it 28 to 11 overall for intercept marks? So I think that pretty much was it, right? It was just that intensity and pressure around the ball that Collingwood had. And then when they got their moments, it was like Adelaide, because of the pressure that they were under when they had the ball, they were pretty rattled. Yeah. And Collingwood just moved it so well.
Absolutely. Rogue Wright in the chat says Moore and Quaynor were phenomenal in the backline for Collingwood. I absolutely agree with that. I'd imagine that, in part of the pre-game address and some of the language used by Collingwood coming up against Adelaide, you can imagine their mentality was, these guys don't know what it's like to play in a big final. Let's show them what it's all about, because that is certainly how they played. That was evident in their mentality.
And the biggest red flag for me from an Adelaide perspective was you saw Rory Laird in the second half go into the midfield. He hasn't played there all season. And I just feel like Matty Nix actually kind of got a bit desperate and we've got, no one's got any composure. And he played really well, Laird. I've been pretty critical of him just because he sort of lacks a bit of athleticism in there.
Yep.
Lacks a bit of speed and stuff like that. But he actually played really well. But the fact that they even had to do that, I think, was surprising given who they had in the midfield.
That's true. I could be misremembering this. Did Collingwood get it on top in clearances over the period where did they kick 6 or 7 in a row?
Yeah, so that was the third quarter.
Yeah, okay. And when did Laird go into the midfield? Was that the second or the third?
Yeah, that was the third quarter.
Okay,
yeah,
so perhaps a response
half-time
to Collingwood, was it? I'm forgetting the timeline here.
Yes, I just think they got Laird around the ball because he was just a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
They were just fumbling the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And or turning it over at that halfback area. So they got Laird in there. But when Collingwood actually lit up from centre bounce, it was kind of through Ned Long. Like he was their guy. And I feel like there was a little bit of a subtle positional shift with Nick Dacos because he only had 3 clearances in this game. And he's usually up at around that 6 to 7, 6 to 8 sort of mark generally in a game. So they sort of almost switched it to Ned Long. I'm trying to think of the other players that were in there. DeGoey, I think, had 7 or 8 clearances as well. So they sort of became that first possession hit 2 player, which mixed it up. It allowed Dacos to get the ball just a little bit more on the outside and could use those foot skills. And he always just seemed to have that little extra metre of space, I felt, in that game, stepping around people. And he's so clean and composed when he gets a little bit of space.
Absolutely. As you said, DeGo was a big factor in this game. I think he had 26 and a goal in addition to all those clearances, which is, a great time to come into form for the Pies.
Yeah, he looks amazing, doesn't he?
Yeah. To what extent do you think this means that Collingwood are back? I mean, they've now got a home prelim. The last 2 games of the year that they will play will be at the MCG if they win, obviously, the prelim.
I mean, this is obviously puts them in a really fortuitous position. I sort of feel though like watching, and you need this context of the next night game, the Brisbane and Geelong game, it felt higher quality to me. And that was from both sides. Now, obviously Collingwood sort of just beat who was in front of them. But I feel like both Brisbane and Geelong in that game were a little bit more composed. There were more moments that I felt like, whoa, I'm watching like a really, really good team here.
Yeah.
So I'm not ready to go, okay, Collingwood are back, but they put themselves in a good position. They get a week off with an aging team. And a team that's probably going to know, as you said, like know how to handle those moments. But I would still be, at this point, I'd still be favouring like a Geelong. Like they looked phenomenal in that game.
I would agree with that. The big thing here for Collingwood is, other than the fact that it's all at home, like they avoid a week 2 game against the Brisbane Lions. No, I'm messing that up. Collingwood had Collingwood won. They would. Oh no, they would have played Hawthorn. Sorry, I'm confusing myself.
Collingwood can get Brisbane.
No, the winner of Fremantle Gold Coast plays Brisbane.
Yes.
Yeah. So Collingwood, had they lost last night, would have hosted Hawthorn at the MCG.
Oh, had they lost?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was getting myself in knots there because I was thinking, would they have gone to the Gabba? So not the end of the world, but still, obviously, as you say, with another week off, and but that week off as well may influence the availability of someone like a Bobby Hill, who we know can be a big factor in September.
So we know now Adelaide will play Hawthorn.
Yes.
One thing that I noticed across the game that was sort of strange, pretty much all the media across the week really targeted that, the key forwards of Adelaide up against the key defenders of Collingwood. Did I say key forwards? I said key forwards then.
Yeah,
key forwards of Adelaide. They didn't really have a sniff in this game. I think Thilthorpe kicked 2, Fogarty kicked none, and maybe Walker kicked 1 or 2 as well.
The supply was ratchet though.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But it kind of shows you that the way that they do play that very like long down the line, straight line footy. So I don't know, like is it just that the pressure goes up in finals and they are going to have to tweak that a little bit if they want to sort of stay in the game? Because I don't think Hawthorn are going to not bring the heat next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that works for Adelaide now is that they have a finals game of experience under their belts. It's just one game, but that will have given them a little bit of a wake-up call for next week. I mean, I think of last year's final series, right? Geelong came out and annihilated Port Adelaide by 84 points at home at Adelaide Oval. And then everyone had written off Port Adelaide as straight set certainty, and they beat a very entertaining and strong Hawthorn side in week 2. So it could be a bit of a wake-up call for the Crows, and they will have to play something close to their best to beat Hawthorn, who were outstanding today.
There were a couple of big moments, I feel, for I think Thilthorpe had a moment in the last quarter, I'm not sure if you caught that, where he could have, he handballed over the top. He sort of had a pretty clear line at goal.
Yep.
And he decided to handball over the top to, I think it was Ben Keys, and there was just there was too many moments like that of like a lack of composure for Adelaide, wasn't there? So it will be interesting. I take your point though on the fact that we always seem to do this when a qualifier loses up against the eliminator who's won.
Yeah.
We sort of side with the team that's coming in with a little bit of form. But you do feel, given the immaturity of the Adelaide side, that Hawthorn could get at them a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a danger game. No game is safe for any side in this final series, as we've seen so far this weekend. How was Jamie Elliott as well? I thought he had another strong performance. again, he was probably the biggest snub, I think, in the final
I was going to
series.
say he took it
All Australian team.
took
Sorry,
it personally.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, yeah,
absolutely. I thought that was a. How many did he kick in the end?
4.
Oh, it was only 4. I thought he kicked 5. Okay, still a
Only
very
4.
strong performance. Yeah. Well, I thought, did he kick something early? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Thursday feels like a long time ago. I've watched a bit of footy this weekend.
He's just their target, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's their most damaging forward. I think they probably, if Collingwood are going to do anything, I think they're going to have to get goals out of the midfield overall. But, who knows? With the experience, with the nous, a team that is, still largely made up of the same guys that won it in 2023.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the best team in it, but they could get crafty, get nifty, and do some damage.
Especially when these games come down to the wire. I mean, I know that their record in close games was actually quite average this year, but you just still think Collingwood are always a chance.
Yeah. As soon as that game got into the clinches, you just felt more confident in them, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should we move on to the Geelong and Brisbane game?
Yeah, we can do.
What do you think of this?
Nowhere near as close as the game felt, really.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I think a lot goes back to the drama in this game was those free kicks in the goal square paid 150 metres off the ball.
Oh, wow.
That made social media go berserk.
Didn't it?
Because I'd actually missed it at first. I was watching the game at the gym. It happened on my drive home. I got a message saying, "Did you see that?" And I opened Facebook and somebody had very quickly uploaded the whole thing.
So if you're following along at home here,
sure
we're talking about
the
Cam Rayner free kicks.
Yep.
There was one, I think it started with, I think it was Lockie Schultz maybe lining up for goal for Collingwood. I think, for Geelong.
Stengel.
Lockie
I
Schultz.
reckon.
Wrong game.
In my
Stengel.
head, it's Stengel, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was Stengel. It was Stengel. I'm picturing the wrong game there. So Stengel, he's lining up for goal, and basically you just hear the whistle go, and it's gone right up the other end. Like, we're talking 180 metre difference here across the field. Rayner gets put in front of goal, and then he gets put down again, and double free kick. So I brought Brisbane right back into the game. In the end, it didn't really matter, but it's definitely still a big talking point.
I've never seen anything like that.
Just that far off the ball.
Yeah, and then the double goal. I mean, double goals I have seen before.
Yeah.
I feel like West Coast gave away something like that this year, in addition to all the other million goals we conceded. So that does happen. Like, you push a player over after a goal, another free kick's awarded. But just the 1-2 punch. Oh, well, it's actually a triple punch, really, because they were lining up for goal themselves.
It was a 18-point swing.
Yeah.
I suppose you would say. Like, plus all of that.
Potentially, yeah.
The lost territory.
Yeah.
It actually reminded me a little bit of do you remember when North Melbourne lost that game against Sydney with the interchange?
Yes.
And the ball was the ball in Sydney's forward line? That's why we had to take. I can't remember now.
I can't remember that either.
Yeah, just sort of like an absurd free kick to give away anyway. But
yeah,
how bad do you think that was? Do you care? Does it not matter now that the game Geelong won it anyway?
When I saw it, I was furious.
Okay,
I got really into it. I was like, that is bullshit. But at the same time, I realized, like, this is an emotional game. We need to just chill out a little bit. Cam Rayner's response was interesting. So he, throughout the game, embraced the villain mentality.
I actually liked that.
I don't know if I have an opinion on it, but I would say I kind of understand why
that's
he did
what
that.
I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what do? You go into your shell?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, it's not his fault. I mean, okay, he took a bit of a dive, but he's not the only player to do that. The blame lays with the umpires for making those decisions, which I did not rate. I saw the AFL came out and said that the first free kick was wrong and that the second free kick was there.
Yes.
I actually thought the second free kick was even less there than the first one.
Yeah, okay.
So you know what the AFL's like. They're never going to admit full blame for it. They're always going to hedge their bets a little bit on that in that respect. So overall, I would say that I'm glad that it didn't matter because I thought Geelong were outclassing them. I think I messaged you at the time or not long after that, and I said, if you take away that decision or those decisions, it was like 26 scoring shots to 8, and yet the game was kind of somewhat close.
What surprised me was just how I feel like Brisbane forward of the ball looked really young and really inexperienced. Like, I was going through today. The first thing that I did statistically was I wanted to look at teams that have lost the qualifying final and gone on to win the premiership. And there's only one. Do you know who that team is?
It's my team.
It is.
Yeah.
2006.
I had a little glimpse at your notes because I remember thinking, a team can do it because we've done it before. I know it's happened. But I didn't know We're the only
one.
team that's done it
Yep.
since 2000.
So
2000, right?
In total, there's been 4 teams that have made the grand final after losing. This is from 2000, so since we've had the 1 and 4
Yeah.
5v8 system. But you had Brisbane in 2004, lost the grand final. You had you guys who won it. You had Geelong in 2020, lost the grand final to Richmond, would have been. And the Dogs in 21, they lost the qualifying final to Melbourne, came back, and then lost the grand final as well. So that would suggest that it's difficult for Brisbane to now win the premiership.
Is the Bulldogs one right? Because I'm sure they finished 5th that year.
They did too.
Yeah, so that might only be 3 then.
It might only be 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Wow. That's still crazy. Like,
My research was wrong.
No,
Yeah.
that's all right. It's either way. It shows that not a lot of teams do that. Where I would have thought, nah, it's totally possible. Like it's I'm sure it's happened heaps.
And then I started to think about Brisbane's list. I mentioned the forward line, but okay. So I asked the question: is their forward line good enough with Ty Gallop, Logan Morris, Charlie Cameron, and Kai Lohmann? Those 4 players combined on the night for 5.2 AFL rating points.
Wow.
That is their together score.
Wow.
That is aided a little bit by the fact that Lohmann had -3.
Mm-hmm. That would help.
That did help my argument here. But they played really poorly. I think Charlie Cameron is getting to the point where it's like, is he out of form or is he actually just finished? That's a genuine question. Ty Gallop's just super young. He's playing in his first season.
Yeah.
Logan Morris is playing his second season. I think we forget that, given how good he has been across the season. And then Lohmann, I think it's just, again, it's a young player, isn't it? That had that really impressive final series, but hasn't really ever strung together a full complement of form. They've got a lot of other young players in that team at the moment with not a lot of troops to actually come back. Like if you look at Sam Marshall, first-year player, 19 years old. I mentioned Gallop in the forwards. Levi Ashcroft is 19 as well, and Morris 20. So they've got, compared to last year, where they had 1 first-year player in their team in the finals, which was Logan Morris, they've now got 4.
Yeah. And Will Ashcroft and Jasper Fletcher are not much older. I mean, they are already like Fletcher kicked a sick goal from memory in this game. So they are well performing.
Yes.
But generally it adds to the group of young players that Brisbane are playing here. And it goes back to the Danaher retirement and how obviously they were not really able to replace him outside of Sam Day as a delisted free agent. And it kind of really underscores why Brisbane are going for Oscar Allen and Sam Draper at the moment.
Absolutely. And I brought up their injury list there, and Hipwood says 1 to 2 weeks, but I think he's been confirmed.
ACL.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a curveball.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a phantom ACL. Like it's been there for maybe like a large part of the end of the season.
That's crazy.
Everybody else is injured for the season, so I don't think they've got a lot of levers. Maybe like a Bruce Revel could come into the team.
Yeah.
But it is difficult to see how they kind of dig themselves out of this. I think their form's been... It's weird because we did say with the form that they were showing at the end of the season, I feel like we got on them. But when you actually pick it apart and you look at the age profile, they're probably a team that still has a lot of... I didn't even mention Lachie Neale in that too.
Oh, yeah.
So
groin.
Neil's
was it
out-
groin?
no,
No,
calf.
calf. It was a calf, sorry.
It was a calf,
I
yeah.
I felt like he was grabbing his groin at the time. Maybe
He
that was
might have
unrelated.
been. Maybe it was referred pain.
Yeah, it might have been completely unrelated. Wasn't even an injury.
But that's another player that they're going to have to bring in.
Yeah.
Probably like a Revel or someone like that. So it's difficult. I'm not putting a line through them. I'm not ruling them out, but kind of just having a look at that and some of the form of their players, it's going to be difficult for them now.
I don't think there's any easy draw in this particular final series with the composition of the 8. But as well, with this semi-final, they're obviously going to play the winner of tonight, Fremantle versus Gold Coast.
Yep.
Fremantle, I don't think have played well at the Gabba, but still have this recent history of beating teams and punching above their weight in these clashes and saving their best for these teams. So absolutely not an easy win. And the Gold Coast Suns just rolled them by like 12 goals a month ago. So, I mean, I'm not going to predict the straight sets, but obviously there's some danger.
I do feel like everybody's pointing the finger at Adelaide right now as that team that's going to go out in straight sets because they're immature.
Yeah.
But, who knows? Like, could it be Brisbane, an unexpected Brisbane, who I think everybody just thought they're just going to go through, win the qualifying final, and probably be playing a Geelong in a grand final? Like, I'm starting to think that's less likely.
Yeah, absolutely. Having said that, what will bode well for them is they also just annihilated Fremantle at Optus Stadium not that long ago, only like 3 weeks ago. So assuming they potentially play Fremantle next week, a bit of a mental edge there. So who knows?
That would suggest that you're leaning Fremantle. We are going to do a power rankings too. in this video, in this stream. So check that out. We're going to be ranking all of the teams. I think there'll be some changes given what's happened.
Yeah, I think there has to be, considering like the path to the grand final is now more defined. For instance, Adelaide will have to play an away prelim, and therefore that makes it harder.
Yes.
If that makes, and Collingwood, by contrast, has a home prelim suddenly. They have to shoot up the rankings, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I've just looked at the comments there. We've got, why does Dylan look like he's on a date?
He is.
I am.
Yeah.
Jesse's here.
This is my entire social life.
Rogue Riot. She's got a few there.
Dylan about to go to
prom. Wine and dine me. Cheers. Wow. I thought this is me.
I think you look very dapper.
I went for the silver glasses because I went navy.
Oh.
Just something a little different.
Yeah, nice. Do you have a selection of glasses to suit your outfits?
I've got 3 or 4 pairs, maybe 5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
As a non-glasses wearer, I'm completely in the dark about this.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. And I also got a haircut, so maybe that's it.
I did not even notice, but I remember I commented on your hair last week. I should have noticed.
You?
I said your hair's quite long.
Yes, and it was.
Yeah,
it was.
I'm glad you cut it for our
I
date.
hadn't cut it for a while, so maybe that's it. And I usually wear a hat, or I often wear a hat.
True.
Anything else from the Geelong side? I like only one thing I wanted to comment on from a Geelong perspective was how good Jeremy Cameron was, and then that contrast between the Brisbane Lions forward, because everyone's laughing in this room.
I'm looking at the chat.
The ring gives a Bond villain vibe. Oh, come on.
You're always hatching evil
Kane
plans.
Burgess. Fuck this. Cameron was phenomenal.
Yes.
And in contrast to the Brisbane forward line, which really struggled, I thought.
The other Cameron.
The other Cameron. And how fucking good was Oliver Dempsey?
Yeah. He had like 3 and 25 or 22 or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
They could not live with him.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I will say that actually irked me from this game is at halftime they interviewed John Ralph, and he's talking about the umpiring incident. And you could just tell he got a bit too fired up. And I think everyone got a little bit too fired up on social media about it. But he's like, yeah, I was looking through socials at the time. And John Ralph said something about that. You just hope that Geelong find a way to win this game, because this is a disaster. And I was like, whoa.
I want Geelong to win.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I'd go that far. I said, I hope Brisbane don't win by less than 12 points, is the fair way to say it.
Yeah.
Or even 18 if you want to go that far. But him saying, no, it would be a disaster if Geelong don't win this game. It was along those lines. I remember thinking that was a bit too much, John Ralph.
The thing is, we've seen free kicks that bad. Now, the thing that was particularly bad about that was how far off the ball it was.
Oh, yeah.
That was that's what made it newsworthy, I suppose. But were they the 2 worst free kicks you've ever seen? Probably not.
The back-to-back compound element of it, though, was pretty... It was bad.
It did feel like the umpire was trying to make a game of it.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. I got angry when I saw it. I won't deny it. But I think collectively we all kind of...
I didn't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's only because I didn't really care who won.
Yeah. Nor did I, to be honest. But
you don't like to see something like really unjust happening.
Yeah. Especially if it influences the result, which it well could have. But in the end, it didn't. Geelong far too good. I
actually copied a picture of a meme from that I found on X, which was someone looking in the mirror and saying get in there and make it about you from the umpires.
You have a lot of pictures in your prep. I like it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I like to use... It's it's easier when you kind of look and you remember something and you just got the full image there as opposed to reading something.
You have a picture of GMHBA Stadium in there. I like it.
I do. Oh, that was because I was going to talk about how they were denied being able to play at their home ground.
Yeah.
Which was also another... I feel like maybe Geelong used that as a bit of fuel overall. There was a lot of things kind of rolling against them. And they were able to get through. So
I think someone commented saying that... we were talking about how there's an MCG contract last week, and I'm not 100% sure I got my facts right on that. The idea that there had to be a certain amount of finals of the MCG. Someone in the comments said that there has to be at least one final... If there's a game in Melbourne, at least one of them has to be the MCG. I think that's what the contract says.
That's what it is.
Which means that there could be a scenario that if in week 1 that had played out, maybe week 1 could have been Geelong's home GMHBA final.
Right.
But there was no other game at the G this weekend.
So what happens next weekend?
I don't know if it stays the same for semis.
It's only when there's a full complement.
Well,
because next week it'll be Adelaide and Brisbane.
Yes. So if there's a final in Melbourne, one of them has to be at the G.
One has to be at the G. Okay.
Which you could then say the prelim will have 2 games at the MCG. because that will be Collingwood and Geelong's home games. But I don't know if it applies to prelims because you can get 100,000 people there.
Incredible.
Yeah. I don't know if I've
I've
factual,
heard stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't have it off the top of my head though.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I think we can safely assume it's going to be at the prelim.
I was surprised in that game, I must say. The score sources: Geelong kicked 7 goals, 8 from stoppage to Brisbane's 3 goals, 3. And they scored 3 goals, 3, 21 to 1 goal from centre bounce. So Geelong absolutely smashed Brisbane's midfield. Surprised me.
You know what we haven't discussed?
What's that?
The other elimination final today.
We haven't. GWS versus the Hawthorn Hawks. Now, this was a crazy roller coaster of a game.
Yeah, it was.
The game that's on before we do the stream, it's always a little bit hazy for me because I'm kind of setting up, and this was just like the commentary team that was covering it. I think it was like Howie,
Hutto,
Durham
I can't remember who the third one was.
Yeah, Durham was in there, I think, as special comments, but they were riding this game super, super hard. Like the energy was just like so up and down. I feel
it's interesting
like
you say that. I thought the same thing. Yes, yeah,
yep,
yeah. Because I was similar to you. I'm getting stuff done for this show, and I'm upstairs, and I can just hear screaming. And I look at my phone, and it's 42 points the difference. And then I sort of leave it for 5 minutes, and I hear more screaming. I'm like, what could possibly be happening?
Yeah, it's like,
and GWs have caught up by 5 goals.
Someone's just kicking goals. Like that's the only thing that could possibly be happening.
Yeah.
So Hawthorn got out to a 42-point lead.
Yeah. Oh, BT was going nuts as TPM.
Oh, BT. Was that on 7 as well? Must have been.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, channel. Okay. Yeah, I was on the Fox.
Same, yeah.
But again, like it's sort of hard, in a way, like it's hard to believe. I feel like that was clearly, of all of the games this weekend, it was like the best match to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily the best quality when I talked about the Geelong-Brisbane game, but just those, you sort of feel like you didn't want both of those teams to get kicked out with just the football that they can play. I think a bit of a microcosm of the Giants season in that, again, they let a team like get out to a massive lead. They couldn't really stay in the game at the beginning, and that probably cost them in the end.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you said before this started, like they caught up too early. They got their lead too early. That can happen because you know that when you've come back and pinch back the lead, you know there's a momentum swing coming. That is exactly what happened.
Yeah, so I think they hit the front end of the third quarter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
To erase 42 points in less than a quarter.
They've done that several times this season where they've just reeled in massive...
Humphrey.
The humper. GWS had 72 inside 50s in that game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
That is actually incredible.
Yeah, I'm trying to... so Collingwood had 71 recently. I think when Sydney beat West Coast by 171, I reckon they had like 77 inside 50s. So
wow.
that's pretty extreme. Like one of those results was 200.
Yeah, you don't see it going into the 70s often, do you?
No.
Jai Newcomb, he was incredible.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
12 clearances, so...
I feel like you made a comment not too long ago saying every time you watch the Giants, you feel like when they're at NG, you turn it on and they're like 4 goals down.
Yeah, every time.
That's exactly what happened in this game. Hawthorn got 4 goals very quickly.
Yeah. No, they give teams like 5 to 6 goal starts on the reg. And if the team's not that good, they'll reel them in. But if the team's good, they'll lose. I think that's kind of what we saw today.